Hey kids, welcome to the Capital Life Podcast. I am your host, Abby Pagud. This is where we talk about all the things that life brings, the good, the bad, and of course, the healthy. And today, our episode is called Light My Fire, the spark that pulled me back to myself. And what better way to introduce this show than having Angel Jones, who is an amazing person. She's got tons of spirit. She's an author, she's a trainer, and she is just exceptional in trying to bring the attention to trauma. So welcome to our episode of Keeping It Real with Real People, Miss Angel Jones.
Thank you. An introduction like that, I have no idea what to say.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of fun because it's like, I think that everybody should kind of wake up their day with listening to their bio as they walk out the door. So then they like totally think they're a badass and they're just like go into the world with their strut. But we don't do that enough.
No, we don't. I actually have a theme song, which is Katy Perry's song "Roar," and that's my badass song.
Okay. See, and that totally lights your spirit. I totally dive into music. Music like totally creates me. I actually was listening to a song before we hopped on to record, and I was like, I need to stop listening to this song because it almost made me cry. And it was like a good cry, like a good, healthy type, like purge type of cry. But we all got that, but what is your favorite? Like, what's your jam? Like Roar, and then like what else is like your go-to?
It's too many. Roar is just my theme song.
Okay.
I like music overall, so it's kind of hard to pick a song other than Roar. I think I like, and I hate the word hater because people don't know how to use it correctly. If
that's true.
And they call you a hater, and I
find
it hard. But I do like the song by Jill Scott called "Hate on Me, Hater."
Okay,
I do like that one.
That's fine. That's fine. I do that. I find that like right now we're in a sense of society that keeps using words, but they keep using them not incorrectly, but they're either overused to the point where they start to lose the meaning of it, right, or it's the translation and how it came about. Like they're using it out of context, and it's not like really doing that part. Like, and I think that especially when it comes to when we're talking about the sacred spark within ourselves, especially when we're trying to engage awakening and trauma and facing truth.
Right.
The last thing we need is the overuse of transparency used like such bullshit ways, the way that it is these days, because half the people say I'm just being transparent. No, you're fucking not. You haven't done anything. Look, we're not even 5 minutes in and I'm already throwing F-bombs.
That's all right. I welcome it. I cuss like a sailor, so it's fine. I just didn't know if I could. So I feel
no, there's no restrictions here. There's no restrictions here whatsoever. I mean, my audience already knows that I swear like a sailor, and I usually say that as well. So thank you for at least saying it before I had to say it. This episode of The Capital Life is brought to you by Nectar Juice Bar. Real ingredients for real people with real health benefits. Live the Nectar life. Available in 26 states with over 200 locations and 150 in development. Check out nectarjuicebar.com and find a location near you. Did you know that we at Capital Health have been working on an app that's never been created before? And with all the excitement around it, we've decided to give you an opportunity to become a Capital Health founder. Capital Health founders get exclusive perks, including 3 to 6 months of full access of the app, a Capital Health t-shirt, and future founder-only benefits. The app itself is designed to meet you where you are, assessing your needs and creating customized workouts and personalized nutrition tailored specifically to you. In short, it's like having a trainer, nutritionist, and energy coach in your pocket without the massive expense of hiring each one individually. Founder opportunities are limited and only are available before the launch date. So head on over to capitalhealth.com to learn more on how to become a Capital Health founder and achieve your ideal health. please like, share, and rate us on whatever platform you're listening. It's how we start to really spread the message of good in the world that needs it so much right now. If you find this helpful or insightful, don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Capital Health. That's KAPITOL Health. Also, visit us at capitalhealth.com and subscribe to our newsletter and get wicked awesome updates. But I really think it's interesting because like we're going through this huge identity awakening within just people in general. And it doesn't matter what your belief system is. It doesn't matter what culture you come from. It doesn't matter anything. We're massively going through this transformational period of discovery of self and getting ourselves to where we want to be. I mean, like even like this month's theme objectives that we really like, why I wanted you to have on, was talking about the innocence, the opinions, the control, and like the shock, right? Like that we go through with this. And I love the fact that like you have put together a book that which is where your author Angel comes from. And you put together a book of trauma collections, like basically trauma story, like a collection of trauma stories is the right way to say it.
Right.
And some of it is from yours, some of it is from other people's, and also like stories to which that made an impact on you. Can you tell us, how did it come to be that you decided to, essentially put through your healing process on a page to provide for others to be able to learn and discover?
Okay. It definitely wasn't easy, but I've been reading since I was 3 years old. I've loved books. I've lived in the library. I would max out the cards of how many books I could get at one time. And I just took to reading, excuse me. And as a child, I used to write books all the time. And when I was in therapy, the therapist I had at the time, she has since passed, rest her soul. But the therapist I had at the time, she would have me do homework. Oh, I want you to write how you feel. Anything I talked about in that session, she wanted me to write. Now, I've been 30 years. I'm still journaling today. And I would read her things that I wrote. And she was the one who encouraged me to put some of it into a book. She said, "You ever thought about writing a book?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I write books all the time, but she was like, "No, about you." I wasn't really ready to, make a long autobiography from my birth till now. But it was a lot of stories that intrigued me about things that was going on and happening around me and my peers and such, and stuff that I've been through. And I started writing. I think I started in 2018. I started with the first story about deportation because at the time that was really big. Obviously, I experiencing that, but I was able to write from that viewpoint. And then eventually I got bolder and it came to me, some of the stuff that I've experienced. But I wasn't comfortable using me. So that's how the idea came of doing short stories. And I made ending different. So not all endings is perfect. There's some that throw you for a loop. It's like, whoa, because we have to be, there's not always a end all be all. And that is how I came about my baby.
Yeah. And tell us the name of the book so that our viewers are aware.
So the name of the book is called The Light at the End of Yesterday.
Yeah, and I just absolutely adore the first thing when we first met and first had a conversation, I thought you did a tremendous job with the cover of it because it definitely draws you in just of like, oof, there's something behind that. And I thought you did a really raw essence to deliver just even the picture of trauma, but like also creating peace but wonder at the same time, and it really just draws you in. So I thought you did a really great job with the artistry. I think it's interesting because I love the fact that your therapist was very encouraging of you, like giving you ways in the way to which you process and choosing to face your traumas through that direction,
right?
On top of the fact that it prevented you from suppressing your emotions, it faced you to deal with it, even though like a lot of times we do just like crawl under the blanket and not come out, and then it also reveals a lot of the painful truths, because in that process it brings up a lot of our how it's shaped us,
Right.
over time. And so I kind of am curious, like, how did the trauma shape your identity? And like, and how did the trauma shape your identity? Because, and how was it that you came about that realization on how it shaped your identity? Because a lot of people don't realize that they're living from a victimhood mentality of this is was done to me,
Right.
and then they don't realize that living in victimization becomes a part of your identity if you like allow it.
Right.
And then therefore you never end up diving in to do the work because you're so stuck in the victimization and so stuck in projecting out who's to blame or who's the cause, etc. Because the fact is it's about ridding yourself of it from your
That's right.
identity.
That's right. I noticed it was a part of my identity when I began to experience PTSD. There
Okay.
were certain things I would hear that would trigger certain things. I was also, and this is one of the stories in my book. This one is one of the most hardest ones to, was the hardest one to read. I would pause, and start all over again. But I was still friends with a perpetrator
Oh
and
my God.
had no idea that I was a victim, and still to this day, I've since have not been friends with that person in the past year, but
Yeah.
it's still very hard. And someone at the time was giving me a hard time about it instead of understanding it. It was more like, oh, you there because you want to be. No, I just didn't realize. I
Yeah.
had no idea that I was being manipulated and groomed prior to that point. You
Right.
get stuck.
You
When you think of
do.
a situation like the young lady, which I read her, but was a JC Dugard, when
Yeah.
she had the opportunity to leave, she had babies by this person, and she was still there. They would let her go leave the house, and yeah, go do what you need to do, and she'd come right back. And people, why did she use that as an opportunity to leave? Sometimes you really just don't realize it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's what.
I think it's
That,
also because we don't realize that there's choice in it, right? Like,
right,
it's like a lot of my extreme abuse, whether it be physical, sexual, etc., like
right,
a lot of it stemmed from my father. It came from my dad. So it's
Lord,
like when you're taught even in certain religions to honor your father, honor thy mother,
right,
and then you're stuck in this like child, like here you're, I mean, I was under the age of 10 for Christ's sake. Like like it was basically from, my existence of where I wasn't supposed to exist because, I was a manipulation of my mother's diaphragm. She wanted a sibling for my sister and my dad wanted golf clubs. So like
Lord have mercy.
it turned into this, like you are like, even from the wound, like when I've gone through some of my healing and I've had my sessions with one of my energy healer friends of mine. And as we dove into some of that, some of the discovery was realizing that the feeling of not belonging or not being deserved or not being seen or
Right,
accepted started from before birth because
I've experienced.
all
Too.
right. So like even my mother, like, oh, she knew that my dad did not want another kid, but she desperately did. But then still there was that fear within her cells that transferred into my understanding that I wasn't supposed to exist. Like
Mm,
type of thing. And so it really does go like it's a mind fuck. Like it really that's
it
just what it is. And then it's
is.
like when you're finally coming to standing up for yourself and identifying where the
Yeah.
manipulation is, and you get stuck with the anger and the judgment, but also the shame.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and so I completely understand how like people that are closest to you that can look at it from an outside
Yep.
perspective are asking like, why are you still doing this, or why are you still even connected?
Right.
And it becomes this really seated twisted thing of we don't know anything else
Else, thank you.
to pull us out.
Right.
And so
Nobody
then you're
be different.
deeply stuck in it. Right. Which is crazy. Like absolute crazy. So you finally have like cut your ties with the perpetrator in the last like year or so.
Right.
And that mean like that must leave you extremely vulnerable on like excited because you get to discover and see what's next,
Right.
but at the same time also like you're still having kind of flashbacks of wondering how they're doing, what they're doing, like,
Right.
oh God, if I'm gonna, do I have to see them? Like those types of things. How is that going for you?
To be honest, it's not easy. Because to be honest, the good, believe it or not, outweighed the bad. It was the
Yeah.
gray areas that I didn't see. We
Okay.
had really good friendship. Um, you know, I'm we've had a lot of great times, despite anything.
Oh no, my dad, he's the charmer, and he was a
Yeah,
creative being. And so, there were some good times, but there, on my side, there was 10 times it was worse than it was good.
I understand.
So, like, it was the opposite, but for the women that he's been with,
Right,
there were better times than the worst times, and then that was harder for them to overlook. Like, like they would stay, like they would stay longer than they should have,
right.
because of it.
And I think too, it's I had to learn this through what helped me get rid of this person. I hate to say it that way, but cut ties with this person was
Cut
I
ties, yeah.
been a different part of therapy, and it was EMDR. I'm saying it right,
Yeah,
EMDR.
isn't that so nice?
I loved it.
Oh,
That's what helped me, and that's no offense to the therapist I have now. She's wonderful, but it took that for me to really peel back those layers. I've never cried in therapy, but EMDR would kill me every single time,
you know what I
and it
love about it? I
does.
love the fact that, like, we're so physical beings, and I mean, like, you're a badass. I think I, like, get the vibes that you're a badass, like I'm a badass. And so, like,
Right,
but it's that we're such powerhouses that we are so programmed that we can do this and we can survive and we can push through, that we're disconnected. And so, like, the EMDR, like, literally brings you back
it
to
does.
alignment,
It
and
does.
then your body doesn't even realize it's registering shit that you.
I was so shocked. I was like, "Oh my god, why am I crying?"
Right, and then you're like, why am I like a sissy right now? Like, I'm like lost it, and I should be fine. Like,
I was like, "I'm a thug now. What am I
yeah.
doing?" But yeah, and it was her who helped me realize that what I was experiencing was the grief. When I
Mm,
found out that I had to separate from this person, I remember pulling over and I had a therapy session. I used to do my therapy sessions in the car. I love to sit in the car. It was wonderful out,
okay,
breathe.
that's cool.
And I realized everything that had happened, something came over me. I have anxiety, so my nervous system kind of crashed. I got out the car. For some odd reason, I couldn't stop walking. I kept
Mm.
circling the car, and she was saying, "Do you realize you're grieving? This is grief." So, and then I say that to say we don't realize that we do grieve, despite the manipulation, despite the things that we've been through. It's a part of us that grieves it.
Before we dive in, take a moment to explore the Capital Health shop at capitalhealth.com. Inside, you'll find a range of offerings designed to support your everyday life, including oils for your body support, customized exercise and nutrition plans, and gift cards to share that support for others. You'll also find Capital Health apparel created to reflect the mindset and energy we talk about on this show. From pieces like Big Stronger Than Your Excuses or Run Like Your Kids Are Looking For You, each item is designed to bring a little intention and personality into your day. You can explore it all at capitalhealth.com. Achieve your ideal health where health meets alignment.
And I want to bring up someone who I hope to meet someday. The young lady who came out for the R. Kelly story, the one he manipulated,
Hmm.
recently came out and reclaimed her power. It brought
What was
tears.
her name again? I can't remember what her name is.
Rashonda Landfair. And I
Okay,
plan to
thank you.
purchase her book too. And I'm not a big social media commenter. I scroll like anybody else. But I was on there fighting for my life in these comments. You all will not sit up here and disrespect this young lady and call her PP girl and all this stuff. She was a kid. She was groomed. Oh, she
Yeah,
must have liked it. You all have no idea how manipulation works. And then,
right,
believe it or not, you could end up liking things because this is all you know. You're human. Your body is going to react to things. If you don't have the proper people to put, I had no father, so that made me very vulnerable to this predator. They call it what it is, and they knew that, and
yeah,
like you said, they're charming.
yeah,
It's this, here's that, and you think, oh, that's just the sweetest little whoop the whoop the whoop, but next thing you know, this is happening. There's an exchange here. This and that is going on, and I kind of felt that with Rashonda, even though she was an adult at the situation. I was an adult in certain
right.
situations because this is all you know. And it's time to break that stigmatism of people are there because they just like it, and oh, you were fast. I mean, these to hear
Yeah,
people
people to have a tendency to, it's like they fear what they don't know, and then they try to rationalize what they don't
say,
understand in like, and that to me is kind of like an ego, it's an ego issue, right?
right,
Like their ego is trying to compare and contrast what they understand and then try and rationalize it so that they can still be in their cognitive dissonance of feeling safe or
right,
feeling like everything's okay. And the fact is when you're going through stuff, especially as deep rooted as she did, as you have, as I have, like that doesn't even apply. Like it's not even like you can't just generalize people's experiences that way. If anything, it's insulting. And the
it is
fact that there's so many people like part of me loved the Me Too movement and part of me hated it at the same
right,
time. And it was like, it's like I didn't hate the Me Too movement on the part that it brought attention to the trauma and the people being able to have a voice and speak up because it's so hard to do so. But the
right,
part that bothered me about it was that then we had people that were like, and I'm not reducing anyone's trauma because
right.
like anyone, our experiences are ours alone and they can hit us with great magnitude and different thresholds. But it was like you were having people that were like, no offense, we're women, so of course there's been a cat call here and there, of course someone's like possibly come and like grazed a certain area, but it's
Right.
like, but that itself versus like when someone sexually assaults you significantly or you've been like, there's a total difference in that Me Too.
It
And it was like, and I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like it was almost like everybody was jumping on it like a trend. And
right.
it's like, this isn't the kind of club you want to be a part of.
No, it's
Like,
not. It's
like
no, you do not want to be a part of this at all.
yeah, I was like, nobody like asked for it. But at the same time, it's like because we've experienced it, there is a gathering, but we spend so much time in fear, especially what's going to happen to us when we speak up. We spend so much time in not in the understanding of like really what's going on. And sometimes you don't even get the memories 100% because I still struggle with all of a sudden I'll get a flash or a glimpse of something and I'll be in a particular place in a room that I should not be in at a certain time of night. And then I'm like, but I don't know what happened. But I know that there's like involuntary behavioral reactions or even physical reactions to where my body naturally goes to defend itself. And I'm like, that's rare. Like something happened clearly that my brain hasn't allowed me to unlock yet because I was younger. Like my sister has a little bit more of a memory of things that I do. But it's like, it's nice when you have at least someone to go into, kind of like a battle buddy to be able to compare and contrast a little bit, or at least kind of give you some confirmation that like it's okay for you to be feeling and thinking the way that you are. But not a lot of us have that. So then who do
That's
we get to talk to? Who do we tell?
very true. And it's almost like what you're saying is like it sounds like what you're experiencing is that fight or flight mode. That's
Mhm.
what it is for me, or fight or flight freeze. You
Mhm.
freeze at a moment like, wait, what happened? Why am I here? What brought this on?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, are you kidding me? It's like, and then you bring your family into it too, so that sucks.
Oh,
Because so it's not nice that we're getting all hanky panky with me and my husband, and there's just this one spot of my thigh where if he touches it, I just smacked him across the face, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," and he's like, "Well, that's new," and I'm like, "I don't know where that came from," and then I literally had to like excuse myself from the room and then process what happened and then do some shadow work with my inner child to figure out what the fuck happened. Like, and my husband's been absolutely amazing, but it sucks because it's like we get this it's like collateral damage from it, right? Like it sucks because it's like you can't protect them from it, but at the same time, if you don't speak, it's doomed to repeat itself,
that's
especially with generations.
That's like with me with dating, kind of like what you said, there's certain limitations there. You
Yeah,
know,
I
it
bet.
strong person to be able to handle that, to realize that it's
Mhm.
not a task to deal with some of us victims sometime, because sometimes with a lot of victims, this wasn't my case, but with some people, it makes them promiscuous, and then it makes
Yeah,
some of us,
searching.
hey, there's a limit here, there's limitations here, it takes
Well,
me to trust you to get to certain points or XYZ.
Well, some of those behaviors is actually the trauma response. So it's no different than being in a PTSD episode. So
Right.
so like when we have PTSD episode, like when the PTSD episodes come on, which they look different for everyone, right? Like, like my husband, when he was in the midst of some of the most severe episodes of his PTSD, that was not pretty. Like they were quite intense. But the thing is like, there were certain behaviors that would show up almost like that's how he learned how to cope in the trauma. And
Mm,
so then when something gets triggered, the PTSD activates into like, this orange red zone. Like I have a girlfriend of mine that she loves doing it into like, here we live in a green, like in our day to day when we're doing well, we're in our green. But then when we start to get irritated, you head into your yellow zone. And then, like, oh, when you start to teeter into an orange zone, you're like a little push too far. Then when you hit red, you can't see shit. Like, so she always kind of teeters it into like a intersection light, you know what I'm saying? So it was really interesting because then I could actually tell what behaviors would kind of show up when he was in a yellow zone versus an orange versus a red zone. And then it actually taught me like, okay, this is how I need to approach or subjects I shouldn't talk about and wait until he can actually hear me and like those types of things, so that I knew how to navigate through his episode. But it was really interesting because you talk about promiscuity, and the promiscuity is part of the trauma because it's that soul seeking, the false sense of being needed, wanted, desired, etc. Because all in all, with all of our trauma that we experience, it all hit the self-worth zone. Like our self-worth was shit. Like it was destroyed. It was almost not livable. Like, it really, if we had the self-worth, that wouldn't have been able to come in. And then afterwards, we have to focus on the healing the self-worth so that we can actually learn that like, we are able and capable and deserving of what we desire and what we want in life, because our whole, like, those in those times we basically couldn't, and we didn't realize that we were even deserving of having those things. You're probably listening to this while you're driving, so let me ask you, how's your back feeling right now? Yeah, exactly. If your body's been trying to get your attention, just go check out the focus programs at capitalhealth.com. These are built around real things like low back pain, tight shoulders, stiffness, mobility, getting your body moving the way it's supposed to again. We've got programs for during pregnancy called Rock the Baby, after pregnancy called MilFit, and for the boys, yeah, we've got you, Beefcake. Plus, programs for those flabtastic areas that like to show up uninvited and the legs for day goals. There are over 20 programs in there. Use the code TheCapitalLife at checkout and take $15 off each and every one that you grab. So if your body's been dropping hints or straight up complaining, you know where to go. CapitalHealth.com. Achieve your ideal health where health meets alignment.
Yeah, because in my situation, my idea of love and relationship was very flawed because
Mm-hmm.
of the way it was presented to me through that person. And it's not just that person, through other people. I wasn't surrounded by that type of stuff, and it just made me feel like, is this normal, the way things are supposed to be? And when you see people in, well, what I assume is healthy, because no relationship is perfect, but when you see people in a healthier relationship than what you normally see,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's very shocking, like, wow, they actually do this, they actually do that. I have never really had a successful relationship because of that. And like you said, it does leave you in a lot of messy situations sometimes, and I'm finally to a point where I'm in a better place where it's like, okay, I can date again, I can do this and that, So detaching has definitely helped, but
Yeah.
like I said earlier, there is some grief there. It's definitely a battle, but you just get through it. And what has helped me was just finding other places to put that love.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that grief is love with no place to go. Well, I think that's Regina King. That's Regina King, the actress, that said. I thought that was a beautiful quote, and it's true. So I said, I place that love into being an auntie and making sure I'm there for my circle as much as I can,
Yeah.
just mingling and enjoying life a lot better without the manipulation over me. And and it's hard you don't unlove the person. I think that's what people fail to realize. You can't unlove people, but you can
Yeah.
dislike or not like how they did you.
Well, and when and there's different ratings, like as you go through your healing process and you start to really start like you get to a place of being able to honor the person's existence in your life, like
Hmm.
as deranged as that is. And so it's like, actually, you know what? I've learned to I believe everything happens for a reason. There's always silver lining. There's a purpose. If anything, when when I go through something extreme, instead of being like, "Oh my god, why is this happening right now?" I actually take a step back and I'm like, "Whoa, I can't wait to figure out what my brain's going to do with this one." Like like, "Oh shit. Like what's next?" Or I didn't see that coming, but like what's around the corner? But it's very it's fascinating because like when I got to a place of understanding, like, okay, I couldn't keep hating or like because even the hatred and some of the emotions would keep putting me back, defaulting me back into victimization,
Right.
right? And so then it would turn into a pity party and a frustration party, etc. Like and now it's like, okay, you know what, I've gotten to a place of honoring their existence and honoring the existence because they played the role to got me to my genius.
Very
And
true.
so and
That's
so I was like, okay, you know what? If the name of the game of Earth School is to wake up to power and purpose, like that did it. Like like it might have been a little painful, but at least like in that regard, I kind of look at it like, look, I'm 41. Okay, I spent a good half of my years, if not three-quarter of my years, like, half of it healing from one trauma, then being able to like have a little break in between, then another, trauma that's not mine, but my husband's shows up, and then I'm helping. If I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't have been able to identify my husband's trauma,
wow.
and I would have judged him off of that trauma. And then instead, it was like, no, I knew who he was is soul deep, but I also knew something was not off,
No,
like was
right.
completely off. And he basically was like, I am not disclosing. And like he had sworn to his grave to go
Right.
like out without verbalizing it ever. And then it finally got to a point when he had the courage to face it. That's when the healing got to start. And it was like, and it was, I mean, it was beautiful, but it was awful. And it was, and nobody, like, I don't wish that upon anybody, but at the same time, even being with him through that journey
Right.
changed the work that I do so much to the point where I was like, I'm almost in awe, to the point where sometimes when I'm creating something, I'm just downpouring in, like, releasing tears, and wow, this is because you could feel how it's needed so much in the world. And
It,
I'm sure that you probably had similar feelings when you were doing some of your work and getting to that point, outside of just being nervous and also feeling exposed, because it makes you very vulnerable.
man.
And we don't like vulnerability. Vulnerability sucks. Like,
Yeah, it does. Because I've had people ask me, is this story about you? And I've had
mhm.
to say yes. That is
Yeah.
me. I am that person in that such story. So
Do you find though, isn't it kind of nice that, like, because we're not defined by our trauma, and like you get to that point where you're like, oh no, it's just something I went through, like I'm over here, like you're getting through that. But one of the things I find, especially like within our careers, like that when, like somebody, it doesn't come up, like it's not like we're going everywhere and talking about it and
Right.
everything. But then when something comes up and then someone's like, wait, what? Like, do you do you get the shocked face of like, I didn't know that.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. Like, and then they're just like in awe. But but there's something that's really gratifying about it, that like, I don't know if you get that the way that I do, that, it's like, it's almost like dropping the ball and they're so stunned that they're like, holy shit, like you don't even live that way, like as if this has happened to you.
I
And I'm
think
like, that's
that
right.
I think I get what you're saying, because they'll say you don't look like what you've been through. You know, I hear
Yeah,
people, and I imagine people going to say that after this airs.
yeah,
Holy crap, you
exactly.
do that?
Right, exactly. Like it's like we become a powerhouse within within our own, and then we're not defined by it. So like no one would even know. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So
I can't.
I love that. It feeds me to keep healing and keep expanding.
Yeah.
Is kind of what my point was.
It's like, just like a current in the water. It's the water was
Yes.
still, but it's a current underneath. And that's kind of like how it feels for me. Every day is different, but I
Hmm.
go out with a smile, and I just do the same thing. And my piece is in the fitness industry, and the people I train and I love, and
Yeah.
I wear that when I'm
Yeah.
out there. You're in the field as well, so you get it. You just like you said, we don't look
Well,
been through. We just don't look.
right. Well, it is, and on the training side, it is fun to kind of kick someone's ass a little bit from time to time.
Right, give me two more burpees.
Ah, like, really, calm down. Just do it anyway. You're gonna do it anyway because you don't want to see what's gonna happen if you don't do it. Like,
There you
it's fine. So, how did some of your surroundings, like some of, because you mentioned some of your people and some of the influence, how did I'm assuming, how did their impact start shifting some of your perception so that you were able to start seeing the changes that you had to start making? Like, is there anything in particular that was like, whoa, I have to do something about this right now?
Yeah, one of the things was some of the manipulation that caused me to withdraw from a lot of people around me. And let me say this, I was made to think certain things about certain people, and those things weren't accurate. So
Mm,
I noticed in my behavior that I was very withdrawn. I noticed I picked up a lot of characteristics of that person. And when I was able to be around and do things my way, I didn't see it that way. And it made for
mm,
a better and healthier relationship. Not with everybody, but with other people. And
yeah.
it made things better. So it made my surroundings better. I noticed my conversation is better with people. I'm much more, my personality in the past year has came out a lot. I've heard comments like, you're glowing, you seem happy or
Yeah,
happier.
because you can exist now and not
Yeah.
be degraded for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the hardest part about it though is this part. Not this literally, just being exposed. But you know
Hmm.
what? This is a part that makes you who you are. It is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad with the good, whichever way you want to word it with that. And it just is what it is. That's the
So,
hardest part about it. But I have since talked to certain people and let them know what was coming, and so on and so forth. And I've gotten support, so I'm very grateful for that.
So what's next for you in what's next for you? What's coming? Like, I mean, you've got the book out.
Right.
That's a huge accomplishment on its own that deserves. You're doing you, which is fantastic. You're keeping up with functionality and working on your career, and then like your next, do you have glimpses or visions of
Oh
like
yeah.
your next wave? What's coming for Angel?
My next wave is to be on a panel. I have
Mm.
my vision for years. I even know what I'm wearing. I don't know. It keeps coming to me in a vision. So my
Mhm.
goal is someday be on a panel with other young ladies that have been through stuff that we've been through, and to just share my story because it goes so much deeper than what we're talking about. And there's other stories. I mean, the sad part about trauma is so many layers. It
Yeah.
does. I don't even have to. I can do one panel about grooming, another one about child abuse, another one about this, another one about that. But whatever the case is, I want to be a part of that panel in a room full of other young ladies who are sitting there and continue to give them hope and let them know, like, hey, if we made it, you can make it too. I don't really know what made it is because I'm just really just vibing
None of
on a
us
daily
do.
basis.
None.
But you
That's
know,
called being a human and normal.
because some people look at making it as sitting in a 16-room house and all the above. It's like, no, it's just getting up every day. Even if you put your socks on, if you decide to shower that day, that's making.
Yeah.
Because I know what it feels like to lay there and not want to do anything and dwell and it'll eat you up. It has eaten me up, chewed me up, and spit me out. But you got to keep going. You just have to keep going. You have to find your why. My why is to be a mother someday. That keeps me going.
I
That is
love that.
fight. I mean, I'm 41. That's looking a little. I'm the same age as you, but I'm not giving up. And I'm in a group on Facebook with other moms who are older than me, so they give me hope every single day. I never comment, but they don't realize how much strength they give me because people put you down for having a kid early. But if you
Yeah.
listen to our stories, you'll see I was not fit to be anybody's mother years from that. A
Well,
year ago, I looked.
you were basically working on the healing that you needed to do so that that child could have the best outcome
There you
that
go.
they could possibly have and that it didn't get passed down the chain.
There,
Like, and so that in itself is extremely what is the word that I'm looking for? Like, you definitely need to be acknowledged for that, having that hindsight and being able to do that. Because I mean, girl, there's so many people that, I mean, they stayed in my mom was one of them. She stayed in the relationship even after it turned after she got married and then continued to have two children with this joker. So it's like when it comes to that, it's like, but then look what ended up happening. She came from a very healthy childhood. She had two really great parents. She had, like her siblings their family had not faced that level of trauma or understanding of it. And so then once it came to the surface, it was like, how the hell do we get her out? And she couldn't get out until she chose
oh,
to
that's
get out and realize it. And it's almost like, it's like she needed me and my sister because we became more her why. But
right there.
then when it came to the point where then when she was and we being her why was probably part of the influence that gave her the courage to step out, right? But then the problem that ended up ensuing is that after she stepped out, then my dad got custody. And
Mm,
so her why got taken from her. And so, and then after that, it was like she had to do everything she could to be her best version of who she was going to be with what she had the capacity to do just until her whys were free. And so, and it's like, it's not her responsibility for like I could spend years being like, why did you stay with someone whatever. And it's like, you know what? You do the best job with what
do
you
it
can.
right.
And then you have to, and you're right, you have to keep moving forward. What I love about one of your mottos is you can't fix what you don't face.
That's right.
And and that I love the fact that you clearly are embodying it no matter when you have the hard days, no matter when the shit is there. And by the way, like the world we're living in right now, every single day is different. It's not
It,
like the 80s where it was reliable.
no, it's not.
Like
It,
we used to know what we would face for the week. Now it's we don't even know what we're gonna face for the freaking hour. So
I'm
like
living it right now. What they say, they got to say it. Life be lifing, and it is lifing today.
life be life, and that's
But
a
I'm
good
pushing
one.
through it. I don't know nothing about tomorrow. Just every day, you just get up and go.
I hear
So,
that. Well, I want to, number one, I want people to be able to find you. So if they want to look you up, find your book, can you please tell them how to find you, find your book? Please repeat the title so that we make sure that we have some people that are popping on wanting to read this thing
oh,
ASAP.
Absolutely. It's actually on Amazon. I don't have a site up yet, but it's on Amazon, and this is how it looks. And the title is called The Light at the End of Yesterday. And it'll have my name at the bottom, Angel Jones.
Angel Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so, so I always like to close out by asking
Sure.
two questions. One of those questions is, what is it that you do that brings you joy?
Okay. And I was actually going to mention this. One of the things I like to do that brings me joy is I love to make millennial TikToks. And I was video content. Please follow me on TikTok, Angel J Blue. That's one thing that brings me joy. I have a lot of things that brings me joy, but I wanted to plug that in real quick.
I love that. That's fantastic. And Angel J Blue, guys, go follow her on TikTok. And then, what is one thing that you would like to leave our audience with of messages to live by?
Oh man, that's awesome. I love affirmations and such, so I'd be here all day. But what I can say is, never give up hope. There is life on the other side. Sometimes with life, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Sometimes it starts with a single step. Take first step, and then and the rest will follow. Even on the bad days, just keep going.
That's fair. That's fair.
Pretty.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the Capital Life today, and happy birthday, because I know that's right around the corner. So I'm glad that you were able to have your birthday celebration with us.
I appreciate that. Leo season. Shout out to all my Leos.
Yeah. My son's one of those Leos, so I totally feel the Leo power going on there. All that lioness.
When's his birthday?
August 15th. So woo! Yeah, he definitely. Oh man, we were hitting into any section of Leo. We didn't even know which one, but we went into how he would work out with everybody else. And so there was a week where we're like, this is the best week for him to be born. And then all of a sudden it was 2 weeks of please don't come. Please don't come. and then he came, of course, right when he wanted to. So, Leos are just, we do. Yeah. So you guys already know, the rest of us don't.
That's it. I told my mother, I said, I sympathize with you having a baby during the hottest month of the year. We have the suckiest, hottest month of the year.
You know what? I think it was fantastic because no one gives a shit what you look like in a bathing suit.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you sit on the beach like a big blob, and who gives a crap? Because you know what? I'm growing a baby here. Leave me alone.
I don't like about August. I have the back to school. I always joke and say I have the back to school birthday because mine's at the end of August.
Yeah.
And time my birthday comes, it's the back to school time. And being a summer baby, we don't have the classroom parties and all of that. So that's the only thing I miss.
Yeah. I totally got the same thing because mine's always Memorial Day, so everyone always forgets it. So because it's that Memorial weekend, and then everyone already now the schools have changed so that they're trying to let people out before Memorial Day weekend. So then I'm like, well, yeah, nope, everybody's gonna forget. It's fine.
I'm not going to forget.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us again today, Miss Angel. We wish you the very, very best.
I appreciate you for having me on, Abby. This was awesome.
Thanks for joining me today, where we talk about all the things that life brings. Join us next time as we get even more deeper with great conversations and keeping it real with real people. And remember to take care of yourself, because you are somebody's everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook at Capital Health. That's KAPITOL Health. Please share with your friends and family. The Capital Life is available on all podcasting platforms except Pandora. Our goal at the Capital Life is to provide a safe place to get information when it comes to your health and wellness, especially when dealing with all of life's phases. Remember to take care of yourself, because you're somebody's everything.